Needless Things Podcast. Hey, Phantomaniacs! Welcome to the newest episode of the Needless Things Podcast, where we talk about toys, movies, music, and all manner of pop culture dorkery. I am your host, Dave, and thanks for sticking with us through the last bit of time where there have been no Needless Things podcasts. This 351st episode has been much more delayed than I had planned for it to be. I built in sort of a week off between 350 and 351 where we would settle into the new scheduling of this show being released on Mondays instead of Fridays, because that, back when I made the decision to do this, worked better with my work schedule because I was going to be off every Monday and Tuesday for the entire year, which is no longer the case. Now I work Mondays and Tuesdays, so there goes that. But it's a different schedule, different things going on, so it's still a pretty workable plan for me, and I do still prefer getting everything done in one night. What I did not expect beyond my work schedule shifting was that on Thursday the 14th, I would get hit with not one, but 2 kidney stones. I was sitting there at work doing my job, doing my thing, and got the familiar back pain. I have had two kidney stones previously, or kidney stones on 2 separate occasions previously, and it's horrible. It's the worst experience I've ever been through in my life. If you ask a medical professional, they will tell you how horrible it is. And I got that familiar back pain, and I didn't want it to be that, but I knew I needed to get out of there because you can't function. You can't do anything. So they got relief in for me. I came home, and from getting home at about 1 o'clock, 1:30, well, no, because I left work at 1. So I got home about 2:30 maybe. Very shortly after that, was in such intense pain, I decided that we had to go to the doctor. Didn't want to go to a hospital. Couldn't get an appointment with my regular doctor, so we went to an urgent care place, which is not my preference ever, but you do what you got to do. Went in there, and I was actually laying on the floor trying not to scream in pain. Finally got in to see somebody. Her prognosis was kidney stones, which I already knew. She prescribed me some garbage painkiller that basically didn't work. That's Tylenol 3. I highly recommend ibuprofen over Tylenol, if you even Tylenol with codeine. If you suffer from kidney stones, you might want something stronger than that, but you're going to have to tell your medical professional that you need something stronger. Went back home, and until Saturday night, did not really leave my room. I cannot describe the pain and suffering of a kidney stone sufficiently to get it across, but I didn't even look at my phone until I think Sunday afternoon, actually, because it is basically one of these spiked mines from Mario Brothers traveling through your system. It's horrifying. So I was not going to be doing any recording. I didn't do anything. I was able to watch some TV, because you get short stretches where you're not in agonizing pain. But I didn't sleep for more than half an hour at a time over those few days. It's just horrible. Absolutely horrible. And Monday came around, which is when we were supposed to record 351, and there was no way that was going to happen. I couldn't sit. I still am not comfortable in one place for more than an hour, but we did get it recorded, obviously, or you wouldn't be listening to this. But Monday I was able to go to my actual doctor, and he gave me a little more information. He set up appointments with an imaging place and a urologist, like very, very quickly. And I was actually able to get imaging done that afternoon. And it turned out that I thought I had passed the stone Saturday or Sunday, and I had, but there was another one lodged in me, a 7mm stone, that was stuck, which is why I was still experiencing pain and discomfort, just not to such a level because it wasn't traveling, because that's when they hurt, is when they're traveling. When they get stuck are those brief periods of respite you get where you're just in intense discomfort and not in agonizing pain. So Monday, got all that done, got to my doctor, got the imaging done, and then had to wait until Thursday until I could see the urologist. And by the time Thursday came around, I was feeling a lot better. Still out of it, because you don't go through something like that and just snap back. Urologist, I don't know. I don't know if I felt like that visit was worthwhile or not. It seemed to me like he was more trying to establish an ongoing relationship than to actually address my lingering kidney stone. As of right now, it is Sunday. We've just recorded the episode. And it feels great to have done something normal again, because it has been well over a week that I have just been tired and beaten and really just not able to do anything. Because now I'm on this medication that is the intent is to get things out of you. And it makes me really cold and really tired. So even though I'm not in constant pain anymore, and really I'm in a little discomfort, but it's not horrible. But now I'm just tired and cold all the time. But we did the episode, had fun. I'll be honest, it was a little shaky getting back to recording. I haven't done it in so long. But I am glad to have been able to do it. I am glad to have had this to do for you guys to get me back into the swing. Tomorrow I go back to work, or I guess today, if you're listening to this when it drops, on this new schedule, this new project that I've got there. And I think once I get back into a normal routine, I will be able to mentally sort of move along. But just for right now, it's still in that pathetic wounded state, I guess, for lack of a better term. But anyway, that's what's been going on, and that's why this episode is a week late, and that's why, for the first time ever, you have had this kind of break in the Needless Things podcast. You know, we made 350 episodes, but I'm sitting here drinking a lot of water, which normally I drink a lot of water anyway, but now I'm drinking even more a lot of water. 350 episodes without missing a date, without missing a release date. And I hate it that I did, but there was literally no option. There was absolutely nothing that could be done. And I don't have any kind of like backlog shows or anything like that to throw one up. Maybe that's something I'll look into now. Maybe every once in a while I'll try and record a sort of evergreen episode to sit on and have ready for such an occasion. But again, I thank you guys for hanging in there and for being ready for a new episode of the Needless Things podcast. Next week will be the newest episode of Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. And then after that, I have got everything planned out. This week was originally going to be a wrestling-themed episode that has just been scrapped. Just doesn't fit into the schedule anymore. But what better way to rumble than with Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, Lori Petty, and Gary Busey in the action classic Point Break, which is the subject of this month's Needless Commentary. Awesome movie. We sit down and talk about it safely. We still are not gathering together live. It's until we are all vaccinated, which hopefully will be soon. But until we're all vaccinated, we are not getting together. And I will tell you this. Once we are able to start gathering again, just us, just the Needless Commentary team, we will be doing another greatest blank of all time episode. So if you have any suggestions for which greatest thing of all time we should determine this time around, last time we did the greatest movie of all time. And we've got ideas. We have things that we know we're going to do. But if you have suggestions, drop them at Needless Things Podcast on Twitter, or join the Needless Things Podcast Facebook group and let us know what you'd like to hear, because that's one of my favorite episodes we've ever done, that greatest movie of all time. If you haven't listened to it, go back in the feed and check it out. It's amazing. It's great. And if you haven't listened to episode 350, please do. Or you can watch it on the Needless Things YouTube channel. The full episode is available there, alongside all kinds of fresh new unboxings and toy reviews. I did have a number of toy reviews banked, so there wasn't any kind of lapse in posting of stuff on the Needless Things YouTube channel. So there's new stuff over there, and there will be new stuff there this week. So go check that out. I reviewed the new Plasma Series Ecto 1 from Hasbro Friday. That went up on Friday, this past Friday. So check that out. I think I was pleasantly surprised, and I think you will be too. So there you go, you guys. I'm tired and cold, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hopefully, next week will be, like I said, the newest Audible interlude, and that's a format that's a little easier to sort of put together and have a regular product. And then the week after that, the standard Needless Things podcast will resume, and I'll have a more upbeat, fun intro for you. But for now, here is an upbeat, fun discussion about an upbeat, fun movie, Point Break, the 1991 one, not the horrible, terrible remake. So grab your Corona, throw a lime in there if you must, and enjoy. Well, it feels like it's been a long, long time since we've recorded, and that's because it's been a long, long time since we've recorded. I've been out of action, but I am back. And speaking of action, it is time to continue our love and adoration of the career of one Patrick Swayze. That's right, it's Swayze-uary again. And this month, for our Needless Quaran-tary, we watched Point Break.
True.
So what is this, the third or fourth year we've done a Swayze movie?
It's at least the third, because we've done Next of Kin, Roadhouse, and now Point Break.
Yeah, I feel like this is the third year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then next year, I already know what we're doing, and no, it's not Ghost.
Is it Tu Wong Fu? Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
Probably not.
But
Well, that's good.
Today,
But
we're talking about Point Break, which also continues our adoration of Gary Busey.
it's another month
Hell
on the
yeah.
tart bus.
It's kind of yeah. So this was a no-brainer. I mean, this is a classic movie, but I haven't watched it in a while. I watched about 12 minutes of the shitty-ass remake.
I didn't see the remake.
Oh,
Watching
it looks
this,
so bad.
It's
watching
shitty
this-
and it's ass.
Yeah, watching this made me want to do a commentary for Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves them so much. He fires in the air. Yeah. I thought about Hot Fuzz too watching this.
We might get to the Cornetto
maybe.
trilogy at some point.
Oh, hell yeah.
Isn't that it? Cornetto? Isn't that right? Some British ice cream or something.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Point Break, young Keanu Reeves, Gary
Young,
Busey,
dumb, and full of cum.
Patrick Swayze. Oh boy,
so much
out of the
cum.
movie. And
And it
a
made me
great
cringe.
supporting cast, including Anthony Kiedis, and probably his finest role ever,
I mean, I'd have to.
John C. McGinley.
As like surfer Nazi.
John C. McGinley is like one of the very best of the outraged cop bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
I agree.
There's
Yeah.
so much yelling.
Him and the impression of the outraged cop boss that Mike Myers' friend's cop boss does in So I Married an Axe Murderer are top tier.
I haven't watched that in so long.
Yeah.
It's only
like
like
that
one
movie,
scene,
but I haven't seen it in so
but
long.
it's great.
Hid trousers, no.
Yeah. It's round to get
this-
pointy in places.
This movie came out in 1991, written by W. Peter Iliff, who does not even have a Wikipedia entry, directed by Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah,
who
man.
has gone on to even bigger and better things. And it was, for me, I know Reeves had done some more or some non-TED things prior to this. But for me, I remember my difficulty here was in taking him seriously as anything other than Ted.
Still that problem with me. And I'll get there, but yeah, like he his acting didn't evolve greatly at this point. It gets better.
Like it's kind of a miracle that all throughout like the 100+ hours I put into Cyberpunk, like I didn't really see Johnny Silverhand as Ted.
Yeah. He's gotten pretty good now, but there's definitely some Ted in there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but I think that he's better than I remembered him being. Like, because when
How bad did you remember him being? Like, did you remember him just having like a lobotomy and just going bah?
Well, I mean, he was basically Ted in this movie to me at the time, and he's better than that. He's not. He does have a little bit of range beyond just the dumb. I mean, he sells.
You know what?
I mean, it's not like you look at Johnny Utah and think he's just Ted in a suit.
No, but he is an FBI agent.
Right?
So.
All right, calm down, brah.
I love Keanu Reeves, but
yeah,
he's not gonna win an acting.
I'll say
award
this:
for this movie.
it's like the rest of the cast is like so good that like he does kind of come off as a weakling. But I'm not mad at him. I love Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
he's the best.
Well, and something that I noticed because this is, and you guys may have a reference for this or be able to verify it or whatever, but I remember at the time reading or hearing or one of those things that your friends tell you and like it just sort of becomes fact that they shot the end of the movie during shooting for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which is why his hair, like it's not a wig, his hair's longer. And I feel like
he gets more Ted-like in certain parts of it.
Well, no, oddly enough, I feel like at the end of the movie, he feels a little more seasoned and less Ted-like, just because it's been, a little while since he's been shooting this. I don't know. There's a marked difference in his performance with that time jump at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I agree. I think the ending, he's badass. He feels like a real FBI agent at the end. Like it's like,
he feels like he's been through some
that doesn't last long.
Which is comical because of like all the shit that his character's done. There's really no way he's still an FBI agent by that point.
Well, yeah, that's true. But we'll get to that. We've got to go back to the beginning.
That's right.
And we've got to talk about now, you guys, when this came out in 91, had you seen him in anything else? Like, what was it, River's Edge? And like, I think
no, the only things I'd seen him in were the Bill and Ted movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, you were, well.
Well, I was 4.
Ryan was 4.
But I do remember Bill and Ted was the first thing I saw him in because my dad was obsessed with those movies. So I watched those, and then Point Break because my mom was obsessed with Swayze. So those were like, I saw every Swayze movie and like the Bill and Ted stuff. So I that's what I was familiar with.
Yeah, I knew him as Ted.
I had seen.
I didn't see any of his like art. I did see him in Parenthood, and I love that movie.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
But
I can't remember though 90, if I saw it before or after.
Yeah, Parenthood was 89-90.
Okay. Yeah, well, I definitely hadn't seen that because despite the presence of Steve Martin, it was clearly like a
adultish movie.
Mom and dad movie.
Yeah, heavier on drama than comedy.
Yeah.
I think I saw it with my parents or something. Like I think my parents rented it, and I watched it with them. And because I remember being like surprised that I liked. I'm Parenthood, not Point Break. I don't know why I'm talking about Parenthood.
Well, it's all part of the Reeves spectrum.
Yes, but I love that movie, and I actually love him with Martha Plimpton. He's great.
So this movie did represent a change for me though, because I bought, no matter how far away from Ted he got in this, he did pull off the action and was likable,
Yeah,
did get you invested in the movie.
Absolutely.
And at the time, I wasn't a big fan of Patrick Swayze. I just hadn't
you hadn't been Swayzeified.
Right. Yeah.
You were not a subscriber to the Tao of Swayze.
I hadn't been swayed by Swayze, but this was the movie where I was like, okay, this guy's pretty cool with his
Yeah.
He's
It's
hard to
funny,
not
though.
like in this.
Yeah.
He's so likable in this, even though I know he's like the bad guy, quote unquote.
Well, he is the bad guy, but he's so likable and so charismatic that they were like, well, I guess he wins at the end.
Yeah.
That's how.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And no one's mad about it. Like
Yeah.
everyone's like, cool.
I had
Well,
like
yeah.
the major crush on Patrick Swayze, like when like Dirty Dancing years. So
Yeah.
because I think Dirty Dancing came out when I was like young, like preteen, maybe like
Every
11,
woman
12.
I knew, from like my mother to my sister's friends, like everyone had a huge fucking crush on Patrick Swayze.
yeah.
back in
So
that
like
time
that
period.
was my draw to Point Break. It was like, oh my god, Patrick Swayze, and he was like 40 when he made this movie. By the way, like I think wasn't he like in his 30s at least?
Patrick Swayze, probably. Like,
Yeah,
Let's see here.
but like 15-year-old me was like, fuck yeah.
He was born in 52, so he was almost 40.
Yeah.
He was close to 40. And as we all know, in Ryan Cadaver terms, 40 is might as well be dead.
Ancient. Why haven't you been dead for
Just
years?
jump in the trash.
Dig a
Yeah.
hole. Yeah. So
every night, but when we're getting ready to go to bed, he puts me immediately into the trash, and I'm like, stop it! I'm still allowed to get into the bed.
Dirty Dancing was 87. So this was 4 years. And I guess
Yeah.
I had seen Red Dawn at this point. So who knows whether
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
contradicting. Who knows
That's
if I'm
like
contradicting something I've said before or not. But I still wasn't totally on board with Swayze as like the badass surfer Robin Banks guy. And then of course we've already mentioned Gary Busey, who gives his most Nick Nolte-ish performance, I think.
Yeah.
He really does.
Nailed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's great. He's lovable. He's not as abrasive as you might think he could be.
He hasn't quite gone full Busey yet, but you can see it happening.
You can totally see it happening. Even in the first scene with the bricks, like there's like a thing. I had to rewind it like 3 times because like, what is he saying in a couple of these lines? Like I felt like he was improvising some shit
Yeah.
that didn't really make sense. And then like when he jumps into the pool, he's like, "Rah!" Like does some crazy Gary Busey scream. And I was like, that's the Busey I know.
Yeah, he's very Busey, but he does to me.
But
He
he's
doesn't
really
feel quite unhinged.
No,
in
yeah,
this
he's
movie.
very likable. Very
Um,
Nick Nolte-ish. That's a
yeah,
really good way to put
Like
it.
I love that moment where he runs to the beach, and he like intercepts Keanu and Patrick Swayze, and so he's like, "You seen any kids with a car stereo?" And he's just like,
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
he's like perfect and believable. He's great in this fucking movie.
Well, and one of the things I like about the movie itself is they don't belabor a lot of stuff. Like Busey accepts Reeves' character relatively quickly. Reeves gets in with Swayze's character. Like they don't drag it out forever and ever and ever. Like things move along really well.
Yeah,
like, there's-
especially for it's a 2-hour movie, but it doesn't feel like it really.
it doesn't really drag at all.
And a lot happens.
Yeah, the people overcome, like they get an obstacle and they overcome it pretty quickly. Like he figures out how to like win over Lori Petty and eventually get into her pants. So
I
There
wish
you
I could
go.
figure that out.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up Lori Petty because she's my next note. I was absolutely in love with her in the 90s. I
Same.
just thought she
Same.
was the coolest.
I mean, Tank Girl, yeah, Tank Girl.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we will be watching Tank Girl possibly this year.
Oh,
I'm down.
nice.
Because I love that movie.
Next,
yeah,
not
next
even
month
ironic.
next month we gotta do that new Nicolas Cage movie though.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Are you talking about
What
the
is-
Willy's Wonderland?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
that
where,
Yeah.
where
Five
he's
Nights
like-
at Freddy's movie.
the overnight janitor or something in some haunted like animatronic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it. That's my favorite movie of the year. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet, but it is. It looks so good.
It's not Wonder Woman?
Nope, it's. I haven't even seen that yet.
Well,
I've heard
don't-
so much
don't
bad
bother.
about it. I just don't even care. I'm just like, whatever.
Like, honestly, don't even bother watching it. I know that
Nice.
sounds crazy, especially coming from like the guy who can find the good in anything.
Yeah,
Don't waste
No,
your time with that movie.
that's what I've heard.
All right, so movie opens up. We're getting to know our characters, and as the credits were rolling, something I noticed: one of the cast members is named Bo Jesse Christopher. That's Bojesse, as though their parents couldn't decide between the two redneckiest names on the planet and just mashed them together.
Was he one of the like meth head surfing crew?
Probably, I don't know. I didn't look to
Sounds
see
like
who it
it.
was because all I needed to know was there was a human on this planet named Bojesse.
I totally forgot that Tom Sizemore was in this, and that was like a nice surprise because I've always liked him.
And
He-
he's so young in this.
Yeah. But that whole thing with him going off about the meth and being undercover was pretty badass.
Yeah, that was well. And that's the thing is, we're talking about the plot moving along so well. This movie has so much to do, and it combines all of the technical issues of an action movie with all the technical issues of a surfing movie, because it's not like the surfing isn't really in the back seat. It's a focus of the film. They've actually shot Lori Petty, Patrick Swayze, and Keanu Reeves doing the surfing. Like, they shot that stuff. They learned how to surf for the movie. None of them knew beforehand, although Swayze had surfed a few times because he had probably done everything in the world at that point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he apparently was like a skydiver before this movie too, and from what I was reading, he made everybody in the cast skydive, including Gary Busey, who didn't have a skydiving scene, but he made them and he did it.
Wait,
I mean,
can you just take a moment to think about Gary Busey jumping out of an airplane?
while being convinced by Swayze.
I'm
Yeah,
not surprised that
it
he
must
jumped
have
out
been
of an
fucking
airplane.
insane.
I'm just surprised he bothered with a parachute.
Yeah. And I can just picture him just Gary Buseying all the way down to the ground.
It's true.
So yeah, there was a lot involved with putting this movie together, with choosing a great cast, which I think they did, and with just all of the different aspects that they had to carry out here. And like you said, the scene with Tom Sizemore where they blow his bust or blow his undercover work, that could have been the climax of the movie. That could have wrapped it up. But there's so much more to go at that point. Like, that's a whole side plot unto itself.
Yeah.
The chase scene, like when Keanu is chasing Swayze on foot, is one of like my favorite chase scenes, I think.
Yeah,
man,
I had
that's
forgotten
great.
how great that was.
Yeah.
When he chases him through that like drainage ravine thing, and
No dogs were harmed in the making of that chase.
but I will say for the record,
yeah, John Wick would be so pissed at that scene.
what? Yeah, when he throws a dog at him. Okay, how are you gonna pick up a snarling dog?
Pitbull. No.
A very intimidating looking dog, and then throw that dog at another person.
To be fair, the one he threw was very clearly a fake dog.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
But that was great. That was good though. Like, that was that whole, like you guys said, that whole scene is awesome. And then we get the firing his gun into the air. No.
Oh yeah, that's the scene.
Which is a very like Blue Balls type of a scene.
It's so good.
And I like the through line of his knee. They start at the beginning when he's talking about why he stopped playing football because he blew his knee out, and then 2 times during the movie that knee ends up being the source of a problem for him. It's not just a throwaway. It's not just, how'd you end up in the FBI? Like, they actually use that to tell the story.
But I was actually going to say something about that. So they're saying that he blew his knee out playing football, and he blows it out, jumping off this relatively small wall. But he was like able to get through like FBI training at Quantico without an issue with his knee, and surf and skydive. So,
I mean, they're different kinds of things, because like a lot of times football players who have knee problems will go on to do pro wrestling.
Yeah.
You'd think would be much more difficult, but I guess it's about the control you have in the situation, or I don't know. I'm not a kneeologist.
Well,
I don't know exactly what the deal is, but I can buy that he had some type of knee injury that kept him from playing football, but maybe didn't cause him problems in other areas. Or if he's not,
I can buy it.
If he's not conscious of what he's doing, if he's all caught up in chasing that hot, wet Patrick Swayze, he's not paying attention, he lands wrong and goes down like a sack of shit.
I mean, anybody can injure themselves just by doing something the wrong way. I mean, that's just a thing. Yeah.
Right. Especially if Patrick Swayze's involved.
I was gonna, if a hot, wet Patrick Swayze's involved, I could definitely blow a knee out or two.
So back to Lori Petty a little bit. I think she was an unconventional choice for the movie, because you think surfing movie and you probably think like buxom Pamela Anderson type.
Yeah.
And I like that they went in a different direction as somebody who's honestly more believable as somebody immersed in the
because she's very tomboyish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she pulls off the tough girl thing, whereas like a buxom blonde would not have.
Well, she pulls off the tough girl thing, except for at the end. This actually bugged me this time around. Well, yeah, like he's betrayed her. She shot a gun at him, and then she got kidnapped because of him. But then when he gets her rescued or freed or whatever, she's like, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you." Like she didn't punch him in the face or anything.
Yeah, I believe we would have to have a long talk.
Right.
She might have just also been happy to no longer being held at knife point.
Oh, I'm sure she was, but I would have liked, and I think we would get that. This is going to suck because there are a couple of little things I would say nowadays if they did this, but unfortunately they did do this nowadays, and it was the 12 minutes I saw were rotten garbage. But
I only saw the ending scene. No, the chase scene. I saw that. I looked that up to see how they did that in the remake.
Okay.
And it was god awful. Like,
I bet the camera was all crazy, like jumping all over the place.
Yeah, and they were in the woods. It was weird. It was terrible.
Haven't seen any of it, fortunately.
Yeah.
I saw like a couple minutes of the trailer and I turned that off.
And then like I also like while I was looking at that, I was like, looking up remakes, and then I was like, they remade Red Dawn? Like I don't even remember that. I didn't watch that either.
Why?
Yeah, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I watched that or not, which may be a commentary on how good or not good that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
So Lori Petty's great. Utah using her is a little sketchy. It's not especially lying about his parents.
Yeah, what a scumbag moment, especially for him being the good guy. Like he looks up, he's like, "Oh, her parents died in a plane crash. I can use that."
Yeah.
I mean, that's scummy as fuck.
Yeah, at first though, he's doing a job.
And that's the thing is this is a
pretending
government.
Your parents are dead.
This is a government agency. This isn't like daycare.
Yeah.
These people have to be ruthless to do what they do.
Yeah, so you're not doing it to make friends, but then he ended up making friends, and that kind of muddied things up.
All about the friends he made along the way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Point Break's really about.
So yeah, it's like on the one hand, it's a shitty thing, but on the other hand, yes, he's doing his job. That's what the movie's about. And if you take that element out of it, well, then what is this even?
Yeah,
it's true.
And I think what got me, especially watching this time, because I talk, every time we do one of these things, I talk about how watching something with a little bit of a critical eye or with the intent to discuss it is different from just sitting back and watching something. And looking at this movie in this way this time, I realized what it is that's magical about Keanu Reeves is his earnestness. He's got a lot of charisma, not as much charisma as Popular Kitten,
No,
but a lot of charisma.
but who does?
Sorry.
And you just, when you're watching him on the screen, everything seems real.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. All right.
We don't mind run-ins.
Okay.
That's fine. For the listeners, Newt is on a rampage.
Yeah, just going wild.
But what were you talking about?
I was talking about Keanu Reeves just being charismatic, and like when he's on the screen, you just buy into him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a likable person, which comes through. And,
Yes.
You know.
I know, and I do, like, I'll talk shit about his acting in this movie, but like physically, he's amazing. I mean, and not just like his looks. I mean, yes, he's a physical
the butt
specimen.
of that guy.
But no, I mean, as far as the action sequences, just, you know, the way he moves, all that, he's very like physically convincing.
Yeah.
In all the scenes, he's convincing in the surfing scenes. You know, you really buy all that. The only time that he's a little shaky is in, like, you know, some of the dialogue, but you know, he's Keanu Reeves. Like, he's so lovable. I mean, I would be happy with really anything that he did.
Yeah, but Swayze though, it's like that's the biggest takeaway from this watch of it, because I've watched it several times. But this time I was watching, I was like, man, he was so electric, just command every scene. You can't look away. You're like, I wish I was friends with that dude. Like, he's awesome.
He really does steal every scene in this movie.
Yeah. Like,
you can buy him
the
as
star.
like a pseudo cult leader type.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
Well, and the three of them have a great chemistry together, Petty and Swayze and Reeves.
Yeah.
Anytime any combination of them is on screen, you could see them just hanging out, like actually being, you know, surfer people on the beach in that lifestyle. Like their connection is really, really strong, and really Reeves and Swayze's
their bromance.
This movie, is the big story.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I feel like the movie is really about Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze falling in love.
Yeah.
And then Lori Petty's just like the beard of the movie. I don't know. It's kind of hot. Anyway.
So when we decided we were going to watch Point Break, what was the first thing that came into your mind?
I was like, man, this movie is it's an essential action movie. If you're telling somebody that they need to, like, you know, if you're like, hey, if you like action movies, have you seen Point Break? Like, I mean, like the scene from Hot Fuzz. It's like, have you seen Bad Boys? Have you seen Point Break? It's one of those. It's always in the discussion of badass action movies. I mean, it's, you know, it's one of those like Top Gun. It's like, I always like mention it when people are talking about badass movies. Yeah. It's just in the zeitgeist is being badass. So I was excited to watch it. I was like, fuck yeah, Point Break. Love it.
I think like one of the reasons that it like is a great action movie is that the action isn't just violence. There's like adrenaline stuff too, the surfing, the skydiving, stuff like that. Like, not saying that, you know, the violence is pointless and dumb and I don't want to see it in movies.
No,
like, I do.
It brings more to the table, though.
Like, it's cool to have a variety of different kinds of action. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's like Top Gun, where it's like, it's not all like, you know, it's like, you know, there's some volleyball, there's there's some extreme stuff.
Yeah.
There's Tom Cruise riding his motorcycle.
Yeah. It's
there's
like,
some
that's
great
action
surfing
too.
montages in this.
Yeah.
I did so like I know I'm not the first person to think of this, but like I was watching this and I was like, man, you know, I've heard this before, but they really, really ripped this movie off with Fast and the Furious. Like the first Fast and the Furious, it's the same movie.
Oh, is it? See, I don't.
Yeah, I'm
not even sure I've seen that one.
Paul Walker is like a cop or an FBI agent that's undercover, and he gets in with these racers these extreme racers to find out about them like stealing stuff. It's literally the same exact movie, like to the T. And they're also like, they all drink Coronas, which in this movie they all drink Coronas. There's like all sorts of like similarities because I had to go down like deep dive this, and I was like, they're the same movie, and they are. It's crazy.
I've actually never seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies. The
Neither
only
have I.
Fast and the Furious experience I have is the ride at Universal,
Which is terrible.
hot garbage. No, not even hot garbage. It's lukewarm garbage.
Let's just put it this way. There's a... Is it a Conan? No, it's not a Conan O'Brien ride. What is it? A Jay Leno ride or Jimmy Kimmel? Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
No,
There's-
Jimmy Fallon.
Fallon.
There's a Jimmy Fallon ride, and it's better than the Fast and the Furious ride.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that's a failure right there.
That is
Like,
that is a bold
significantly
statement.
better. And I
I love theme park rides. Like, I'm just really easy to make happy as far as theme park shit. And that Fast and the Furious ride, I was like, are you kidding? That's you put money into that?
man, if
Like,
they
it's
should
fucking awful.
they should make a Point Break ride.
I was just getting ready to say,
That'd be
I
amazing.
want a Point Break ride.
Yes.
It would be, I think, a hanging coaster.
Nice. I like that.
because you can hang 10.
Well, you'd
Yeah,
start
bro.
you'd start at the beach, and there'd be like some water spray and stuff, and it would have like the, you know how they pipe in the smells to some coasters and stuff. I guess it could be like a hanging 4D coaster. Like think the Spider-Man ride at Universal, but you're suspended.
Yeah.
Like the Harry Potter Forbidden Journey.
That's the one I couldn't ride, so I don't know.
Oh.
They told me I was too tall.
Oh yeah, no, it's that one's like the seats are like fucking weird in that one.
Yeah, your head would fall off.
But you start at the beach, and you've got the smell of the ocean and the sand and some sunblock. Every once in a while, there's a little spray at you, and you're like surfing through the waves. And then you go into a giant Gary Busey mouth.
Yes.
And
you come out his butt.
It's whoa.
Yeah.
And it's and it goes into the chase scene, and you're following Keanu following Swayze through the streets of LA. They're running, but you're behind them.
Yeah.
And then you go through another portal of some kind. It's Gary Busey's head again, because why not?
Yes.
Every time.
And then it's the skydiving. So it brings you to the top, like to the apex, and it's a drop ride at the end.
Ah. And then
I
at the
like it.
end, you go right into the ocean and die.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
it drops you. Well, that's it. It does the skydiving.
Yep.
So it drops you down, and then you go like into the giant Australian wave. And then you come out in the Point Break gift shop.
Hell yeah.
Yes. AKA Gary Busey's
Dude,
butthole.
I would buy everything at the Point Break gift shop. I would buy
Absolutely.
every shirt.
You know, speaking of that, I know nothing about skydiving, but like, I didn't think that you would skydive into water. It seems like.
You can skydive into anything.
Yeah, I don't see why
Oh,
not.
can you, Dave?
Yeah, this is America, Nicole.
If it's part of the planet, you can skydive into it. You can skydive into a volcano.
But I mean, I feel like, that maybe the end result wouldn't be great. Like, I feel like
I mean, if the
drowning
volcano,
and,
no.
like,
I do know that Keanu Reeves jumping out of the plane without a chute is the most badass shit I've ever seen in a movie.
100%.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Even now, as a grown man, like when he did that, I was just like, "Fuck yeah, get him, Johnny Utah!"
Dude, it's so badass.
It's crazy as hell. I love it.
Yeah,
and
me too.
that's as theoretically crazy as Gary Busey is outside of the confines of this movie. As crazy as Patrick Swayze's character, Bodhi, as crazy as Bodhi demonstrably is, that's the craziest moment in the whole movie.
Yeah, oh, by far.
Completely
that's-
bonkers.
That's a fucking amazing scene.
Although we should be ready for it, because Utah has already shown how nuts he is by mouthing off to the gigantic, gnarly Nazi surfers
That's true.
Or-
Yeah.
earlier in the movie. That
When
was
he was
nuts.
surrounded by them.
Yeah, War Child. I mean,
War
good
Child.
Lord. Like, who
So-
wrote that scene?
Another fun fact I read about Anthony Kiedis did not show up for the fight choreography training. He just was like too cool rock star guy, I guess.
Sure.
So when they did that scene, if you
He's
notice,
probably
he gets
too busy
punched out
doing heroin.
immediately.
He was probably under the bridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he gets punched out immediately, and then he actually fights the other guys, and that's why, because he didn't do any of the training.
It's perfect though, because throughout Kiedis's character is just a bitch. Like,
yeah, that's true. So it works. Yeah.
he gets knocked out here, and then later, probably okay. If you were gonna do a reel of a minute of just unforgettable moments from action movies, Anthony Kiedis shooting himself in the foot, I think, would be in that reel. Like, as much cool stuff as there is in this movie,
Yeah.
and this goes back to when I asked you guys what was the first thing you thought about when we said we're going to watch this. As great as Swayze is, as great as Reeves is, like as great as the whole cast is, when somebody says Point Break, that's what I think of.
I think of
That
this.
idiot shooting himself in the foot and how graphic it is.
Oh, dude, his foot explodes.
Yeah.
Like I think of that, but I think the first thing I thought of was probably the jumping out of the plane without the parachute.
Yeah.
Mine was the firing the gun in the air
Yeah.
Yeah.
and screaming. That's what I always think about. Like if I picture Point Break, like that to me, that's on the poster, not in the trailer and everything. Like that's the whole movie. Him screaming and firing the gun in the air.
and that's this. The movie is full of just awesome things like that. All the stuff with the ex-presidents, and let's talk a little bit about how well they mythologized the ex-presidents going into this. How they
Yeah.
talk about they've been doing this for years. They've never been
These
caught.
guys
They're
are ghosts. They're
Yeah.
in and out in 90 seconds.
They're
They don't
never
use the vault.
sloppy. They're professional. They do everything, by the book every time. They never go into the vault.
Right.
The script did a really good job of laying down just how in awe of these criminals the FBI was.
Yeah. Yeah, and they do a good job of like Busey being like almost defensive of Keanu trying to capture him. He's like, no, you can't. I've tried
Yeah.
forever. You can't do it. Which
Yeah.
is a cool like old cop thing. I like that. I like that dynamic.
Yeah, and it sets up well the moment that they fall apart at the end.
Because they break their own rules.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they kind of establish all of that in the beginning, and then in the end, when Swayze's getting emotional and
Sloppy.
getting caught up in this,
Yeah.
he goes ahead and like breaks all of his rules. And then obviously
Caught up in
everything
the
goes
fields.
really bad.
Yeah. Idiot cop trying to be a hero.
Yeah. Yes.
And you're right, at the beginning, that is a great setup with, as quickly as Busey does accept Reeves' character, it is that you punk. I've been working this for years now. You think you're just going to come in here and find something new.
Yeah.
And then we get that simultaneously awesome but totally corny scene where he like amps him up. He's like, "You angry? Are you good and angry?"
Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's
It's
true.
so cheesy, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great. He's like, are you dead yet?
Yeah, I really felt like rewatching this and watching it with a critical eye. The first 30 minutes or so is just FBI agents screaming at each other. And it is a little cringy. It gets, because I was like, damn, I remember liking this a lot more. It gets a lot better once everything kicks off with the relationship building between Swayze and Reeves.
Yeah,
and,
I think
and all that.
Swayze shows up like 20 minutes in, and to me, that's when the movie really starts getting good.
Yeah, the beginning is bumpy, but it gets much more likable as it goes on.
But even though it is a little bumpy, they set up a lot of very important shit that pays off later.
Yeah, it's necessary, but it's a little.
It's just a little slow.
Yeah.
Well, but that's what I like about the beginning, because it starts off like literally every other undercover cop, FBI, whatever movie you've ever seen. And it seems to be setting the table for something you've seen a million times before. It's almost like they're intentionally hitting all the beats, and then they throw Swayze in, and the story starts really opening up and getting deeper than what you would normally see. And it's they just do such a good job of delivering, but also giving you something new.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, nobody's ever seen surfing bank robbers ever before, so for better or worse.
I love saying it like that. Sounds like they surf into the bank.
That'd be badass.
Oh, and the whole time, speaking of the surf Nazis, when Reeves is fighting them, and then Swayze comes to his rescue, the whole time I'm just like, man, these guys are lucky he's not ripping their throats out.
Yeah, no shit.
And speaking of that, later in the movie, Reeves is talking about, oh gosh, I wish I'd made a more thorough note. He's talking about somebody's routine. And he says, has lunch at Patrick's Roadhouse.
Oh yeah, I caught that because he says he followed Bodie all day long, and he's like, he did this, he did that. Then he had lunch at Patrick's Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Wow,
That was very
I didn't
cute.
catch that.
That was a nice little drop.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's at like the 1 hour mark.
Oh, another thing about that chase scene, just a few years later, well, no, I guess it would have been about a decade later, but it's funny how much movies can alter our expectations of things, or you learn movie speak as you go on and you watch more and more movies, because watching this now, when the chase starts, they're on foot, they're running through buildings and backyards and all this kind of stuff. Were you guys kind of halfway waiting for him to break into some like parkour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
like
that's such a thing now.
Oh yeah. If this was like a new Bond film or something, then he would have been parkouring all over the place.
If they remake the remake, they could cast John Morrison, John Peck.
Dude, that's a movie we need to watch. John Morrison's bounty hunter movie.
Yeah, we should watch that.
Oh, it's so good. It's legitimately really, really good.
Nice. Yeah, I love John Morrison.
I went in expecting like a dumb wrestler.
Yeah.
Screwing around.
Yeah.
But it's very like self-aware, and it's good. Boone the Bounty Hunter. That's it.
Nice.
It's good. It's also weird. This is a movie that I would love to be able to erase from my brain and go back and watch again.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how apparent it's supposed to be that Swayze and his crew are the ex-presidents.
Yeah, I thought that too, because it's like, it seems like it's supposed to be a huge reveal. Like when that moment happens and Keanu puts it together, like it seems like it's supposed to be like, holy shit, it was there the whole time. But like, I know that already.
Right.
So I see what you're saying, but it's like, I don't remember how I felt the first time I saw it.
Yeah, like I don't know, like,
because they don't give you that many clues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember ever being surprised by that revelation.
I don't remember it being surprising. It being like, of course it's them. Like, duh.
Yeah, because it's like, where else is the movie going if it's not them?
Right. Why is he even involved with these guys in this way if this isn't what's happening? But I don't know.
But that could be us seeing so many other movies that could be that speaking. So.
Well, it's like otherwise it's like Keanu chasing bank robbers and also
making
surfing. Friends with surfers that have nothing to do with the bank robbers. Like, you know.
I wonder if some people think that the Nazi guys really were them at first.
And that's the thing, is that raid is done so well, aside from the fact that Utah's there at all, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But the raid is done so well and feels so big. It feels like the climax of a movie. That, you know, at that point you can kind of buy that I guess maybe these guys are them, except for the fact that they seemed so damn stupid every time we saw them. Like they do not seem like criminal masterminds.
And the ex-presidents are not stupid.
Right. Well, like I feel like Patrick Swayze doesn't seem stupid, and he's clearly in charge, so it kind of makes sense.
Well, James Legros, I don't know how to say his last name. He's in
I have no idea.
100,000 movies. his character's pretty together, and he's the one that gets all pissed at Swayze when things start to get a little fuzzy. Like, Swayze does have a good crew. You can't take anything away. Like, yeah, they're surfer guys and they're a little wild, but they do all seem to be pretty together and pretty on the same page. And to the point where when Swayze is the one that loses it and starts screwing things up, it's not surprising because he seems like the thrill seeker. He seems like the one that pushes them more into other things. Whereas those guys are kind of like, we do this way and everything's cool. Let's just keep that up.
Yeah, he does that big speech about how it's not about the money. It's about like teaching people about appreciating life or whatever the fuck.
Ridiculous.
And like the rest of his crew is kind of like,
no, it's for the money.
The money.
Like,
I mean, we're not robbing banks, dude. We're not like robbing flower shops, you know? I don't know. It's just like, really, it's not about the money.
So we get this raid scene that's very action-packed, well done, gruesome, naked chick popping out of the shower and knocking that guy out.
Oh yeah,
very unexpected and great.
Yeah.
Dude pouring. Now, is that? I made a note about at the beginning when they're just looking into the house, watching these scumbags do what they do. Is that Tom Sizemore pouring the beer into the Cheerios?
It might have been.
Or is that one of the other dudes?
I don't know.
Whoever it was, that was too much. Nobody does that.
Do that.
Nobody's that scummy.
That's like that's over the line of ridiculous scumbaggery.
Like,
Yeah.
I could see someone doing that as a joke when other people are around.
Right,
just,
but he's
like,
by himself.
Yeah, like nobody's really doing that.
No, you would just drink the beer.
Yeah.
At no time have I ever eaten Cheerios and thought this needs beer, and at no time have I ever drank a beer and thought this needs.
But
Cheerios.
you're not a Nazi surfer.
Now
This is
I
true.
have sat and eaten Cheerios out of the box while drinking beer.
Yeah, see,
Totally
now that's
different, though.
totally different. Yeah.
But I never felt the need to directly combine the two things.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's like real scumbag behavior.
That's probably true.
Realistic, at least.
They were Honey Nut Cheerios though. They weren't regular Cheerios.
Oh
It's
yeah,
totally different.
Those are good.
Totally different.
Who even eats regular Cheerios?
I
they don't
kinda
have
like
a
'em.
they don't have a flavor.
I like
Yeah.
them.
Honey Nut Cheerios are good.
You like regular Cheerios?
I
Why?
do.
What the?
What do they?
We've
taste
never had
like?
them in our house, so
I don't eat cereal. You
They-
fuck. It's all
they-
carbs.
Tastes like packing material.
yeah.
I like them. I
That's
don't know. I don't like sugary cereals.
Have you had peanut butter Cheerios?
No.
Ooh,
Oh man, they're great.
that sounds pretty good.
They're so
Sounds
good, but
tasty.
they are also loaded with carbs. So,
Yeah.
and just a tip for the kids and the listeners: don't try and replace carbs with protein because that's how you get one of the ways you get kidney stones.
Oof.
Yikes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. All right. So great raid scene, lots of action, FBI kicking down doors, shooting crazy criminal scumbags with ridiculously large guns, blowing holes in people and things. And then we get to Keanu having to get involved, by all intentions, blowing his cover, even though he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he
Why
tackles
would
this
he
guy.
even be there? That's so stupid.
We get the poor. Okay, so here's another thing that was a little incongruous to me. So we've got the scumbag house that all the scumbags live in. Looks like shit. They park their weird Jeep 4-wheeler vehicle on the lawn. Just drive directly up onto the lawn, park. Just a shithole. And then right next door, you've got a fellow with a well-manicured lawn, everything neat and tidy, looks beautiful. He's just out there with his little push mower.
He's a gentrifier.
I guess
He's moving
so.
in to shitty neighborhoods and jacking the prices of rent up and shit.
Because I can't imagine that dude with that lawn living next to those people.
And not calling the cops every 12 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's out there just minding his own business somehow. Like he's still out there mowing the lawn after all these gunshots and everything. And then Utah and Scumbag come tumbling onto his lawn, knock over his lawnmower. Scumbag doing the classic pushing the face into the lawnmower, which is still running somehow. I don't know how that works.
Lawnmower.
And Busey's character decides the best course of action is to shoot the lawnmower.
That's
Really?
a That's in
Busey
character.
doesn't trust machines.
But
Okay.
Utah's head is 2.5 inches away from the machine.
Yes, and Busey,
Everything's
but he
fine.
does seem like he solves most of his problems by shooting at them.
Well, he should have shot the scumbag.
Well, you would think.
I don't
yeah.
know. This must say a lot about me because like he shot that lawnmower and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like that checks out. I don't know. I didn't even think about that.
Ryan hates lawnmowers.
I'm like, fuck that lawnmower. Shoot it.
It's true.
To be fair, I hate lawnmowers too. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought that was a bizarre choice. 'cause
Yeah,
who
looking
knows
back, that is a little weird.
what's going to explode? Maybe that's the point where he's like, you shoot the bad guy and your problem is solved.
Yeah.
You shoot the lawnmower, that potentially creates many other problems that would mess up Keanu's pretty face.
Yes.
So yeah, we wrap up the raid. Awesome action-packed sequence. Where are you guys at this point? Like, at what point, Nicole, you said the first 20 minutes or so took you a little while to get invested, but like Arian, at what point were you kind of immersed and along for the ride?
Like pretty much immediately. Like it had been so long since I'd seen it that I completely forgot Gary Busey was in it. So as soon as I saw Gary Busey, I was like, oh well,
Here we go.
I'm home.
Yeah. I was very excited to see Gary Busey in it.
Yeah.
I had kind of forgotten as well. He's a fucking delight in this movie.
Yes, it's true.
Oh man. God, when he dies, I know I'm jumping ahead, but when he dies, I was like really genuinely.
That's fine
sad.
because that's one of my notes. I forgot he even died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it
me too.
happened, I was shattered.
I totally forgot that happened in the movie, and like all of y'all apparently, because like me and her watched it separately and stuff, and like when that happened, like I was like I didn't realize how much I was attached to that character, so I was like, oh my god, like really, like he's fucking dead. So yeah. That was and he got like fucked up, like he got shot, like blew his whole back out. It was rough.
Yeah.
Well, and they played it to mess with you because the first time he gets shot, you're like, oh shit, he's been taken out of commission. I guess this is the point where we move on and he gets left behind. But then he gets back up and gets shot in the back like 8 more times. You're like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, they killed him?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that was brutal. Absolutely brutal death.
It's bullshit. Save Gary Busey.
Save Gary Busey.
I'm gonna start a website called Does Gary Busey Die? And like you look up the movie and then it tells you if he dies.
The way you don't have to face that sort of trauma if you don't want to.
Save Tart Bus.
Yeah.
So did you guys have any other thoughts, notes, anything like that you brought along today?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like the Gary Busey dying was the only thing that we hadn't covered yet that I wanted to bring up because that was traumatic.
It's true. Actually, interesting trivia. So I think when you made a note earlier that you don't really recognize the writer's name. Supposedly, Catherine Bigelow and James Cameron did a rewrite of the script, and that Cameron's not credited, which it might be a pseudonym.
Yeah, I read that the writer like basically was like surfboards and robberies and like on a piece of paper, and they're like, okay, buddy, we'll figure this out.
Like,
so
on
that
a
would be
napkin,
like-
and that was the script.
Because I noticed there's a story by Rick King credit.
Oh, okay.
So I'm guessing maybe that's where that came from. Is Rick
Maybe
King threw
that's
that
what
out
it is.
there.
Yeah,
And then Bigelow and Cameron fleshed it out.
that's because that's what I read. Like, basically, like I don't know who. Maybe Rick King, like, basically came to like one of his studio buddies and was like, "Man, I had this like cool idea about like bank robbers, and they surf during the day, and then they rob banks and blah blah blah." And they're just like, "Okay, cool, we'll make that a movie." And
Yeah.
that's, I mean,
So
sometimes that's all it takes.
the another fun trivia note I had highlighted was Matthew Broderick was originally offered the role of Johnny Utah.
Oh yeah,
Oof.
that was one of the notes that I had.
Think
Think
How
how like weird.
awful.
Like
Yeah.
the others who auditioned include Johnny Depp, Charlie Sheen, Willem Dafoe, and Val Kilmer.
Willem Dafoe is the one that blew my fucking mind.
Wait,
could
for
you
Johnny
imagine-
Utah?
Yeah,
That
Yes.
makes no sense.
What?
Yeah.
He auditioned for it. Yeah.
Can you see Willem Dafoe saying "bruh"?
I can't see
Can you
anything.
see? Willem
other than
Dafoe
that
on a
gif
fucking surfboard.
of him smiling.
Yes. It would have
Um,
been insane. But yeah, Matthew Broderick was offered the role and turned it down. It
Good.
would have been, I mean,
And I love Matthew
I
Broderick.
do too. I do
but
too.
not
But
in this movie.
not for
It'd have
this.
been
I
a
think-
stinker.
Yeah.
I could definitely. I mean, Johnny Depp obviously would have been
Well, yeah.
fine.
Yeah, he would have been great.
Probably better than Keanu, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, he probably
And
would
Val
have.
Kilmer
Probably.
probably would have done well as well. But I
Val
don't think Val
Kilmer-
Kilmer's not quite as
Eh.
charismatic.
Are we? Which Val Kilmer are we gonna get though?
Yeah. I'm thinking like Top Gun Val Kilmer would be,
he'd
be
be okay.
fine.
He'd be okay.
yeah, but not
And
great.
Charlie Sheen again, I think would have been great, but would have been very, very different movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to remember in a post hashtag winning Tiger Blood world
Yeah.
or whatever his deal was.
Major
Charlie
league.
Charlie Sheen was awesome at one point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love
Like
Hot
in the
Shots.
90s, he was great.
And yeah, Major League Charlie Sheen
Oh,
was
yeah.
fucking
Like,
glorious.
late
The,
80s,
the
early
getaway Charlie Sheen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been rad. I also read that Patrick Swayze at one point was offered the Johnny Utah role, but wanted to be Bodie. So
I think that's a good call.
that's a really good call.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't see how
I
you
couldn't-
do so because Utah's got to be young.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
just
that's
doesn't
like the
work.
whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't see anybody else being Bodie. I mean, it was like written for Swayze, I think.
I could actually see Kilmer as Bodie.
Yeah.
More than Utah, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I think it would be a travesty.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't change anybody in the cast.
no, I
No.
think that it worked out really good, and I feel like if it was anyone else, it would have been like a weird, forgettable movie that nobody talks about anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way the cast lined up is why it's so good.
Well, and I think it makes it something special in Keanu Reeves' resume.
Yeah.
Well, it's his first action movie.
Yeah.
It's something different, but also something with a lot of acclaim attached to it.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
he's got a bunch that are different and interesting, but definitely were not the box office success that this had.
Your Johnny Mnemonics.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Which I know I've seen it at least twice. Still not quite sure what it's about. Don't really remember anything about it. I think
Yeah.
is that the one that Henry Rollins is in?
I think so.
I am
I think
not.
he's in it.
I've seen it, but like Dave said, like I don't remember shit about it.
I couldn't tell
Yeah.
you anything about it other than he's in it. Keanu Reeves is in it. Maybe we need to watch that one at some point.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if I've seen it. Either I've seen it and I remember nothing about it, or
Ice-T is in
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah, Henry Rollins is in it too.
Ice-T being in it makes it a must watch.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
I love him. Anything he does, I'm in.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to dedicate we could
We need an
a
Ice-T month.
to Ice-T because
Maybe
that
August. August is a good month for Ice-T.
that would cover Tank Girl.
Yep.
That would cover Johnny Mnemonic.
New Jack City.
New Jack City. We could get Judgment Night. We could have a whole year of Ice-T.
Yes.
Oh, we could.
Surviving the game? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Which
that
is the best
movie.
adaptation of the
Yeah,
most dangerous
that story,
game,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
God, I love that movie.
Yeah,
I
that
was
game's
even-
awesome. Or that game,
yeah.
that movie's awesome. Yeah, Ice-T
That
had a
game would
really
not
great
be
run
awesome.
too. Like he
Yeah,
was
he
in
did.
a lot of legit good movies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To say nothing of his career on SVU.
Yeah, sure.
I love Ice-T.
I've never actually watched SVU, but Ice-T rules.
I have.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's-
if like
I just don't watch those kind of shows. Never
He's
have.
great on it.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure.
working in like ERs and stuff like that, where there's like a TV there and you have to put it on something non-offensive, you end up watching stuff like that.
You put it on the violent rape show?
Yes. Yes.
Literally every episode is about sex crimes.
Yeah.
Normally, I think non-offensive TV, and I think like those home repair shows or whatever.
Well, yeah, that's what most people put the channel on. I'm like, y'all want to watch SVU?
It's like, I got this Night Stalker documentary.
That's a thing now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that brings us pretty much to the end of the movie where we get yet another big action piece with that skydiving sequence. This is after Busey. Well, we get the big skydiving sequence before that's almost a little confusing because you're wondering what's the point of them forcing Johnny along with them because his cover's blown.
Yeah.
They come get him to go skydiving and they have a great time skydiving. It's super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
you're
know. He's
wondering,
having
like,
so much fun and he's there because they have Lori Petty by knife point.
right.
It's an odd thing.
Well, no, I mean that's he doesn't know that yet. They don't.
Oh, yeah.
they
You're
don't
right. It was
show him that
afterwards.
until after.
My bad.
Because this is after the we get the raid. We get the big early morning surfing sequence. We get the chase on foot, and that's when his cover gets blown because he's chasing Swayze.
Yeah.
And it's just pure happenstance. Like there's no skill whatsoever. Like they happen to be out. Busey and Reeves happen to be outside the bank that the ex-president were robbing at the time.
It's so and it's like it kind of just like I'm like, Keanu, you're not very good at your job. Like they're robbing a bank behind you, and he's really not paying attention.
Well, he does say that he tailed him to that bank, and he saw
they were staking it out because they sat down and they figured out that it was one of the. I think there were 3 different banks, and they were like, well, it's going to be one of these is going to be their last hit of the season, and then they're going to move on, and we're going to lose them forever. So we gotta get on this. So they're staking that one out, and I think they kind of give up. He goes to get the meatball subs, which, by the way,
all right, that was Gary Busey's fault.
Gary Busey very clearly says, "Get 2 meatball subs for me."
Yes,
2 meatball subs for me.
Yeah.
So Keanu does not order a 3rd meatball sub, and I feel like that's a huge mistake.
Yeah. He meant
he orders
he ordered a tuna sandwich,
tuna on wheat or something.
Yeah.
Then he brings him back to Gary Busey, and Gary Busey's like, "Man, I should have got a 3rd one of these." Because he's Gary fucking Busey.
That man can put away a sandwich. But yeah, and they also say, like, he's like, "I'm so hungry," and Keanu's like, "It's 10:30." Like, so they've been there maybe for 2 hours because you figure the bank's not opening before 8 a.m. Right. So they've been at this stakeout for maybe 2.5 hours, and Gary Busey is like, "Fuck this bullshit. Why haven't they come yet? I need food." And he just like is totally impatient with the concept of the stakeout. I'm like, aren't you like an FBI agent? Like, isn't this part of the deal?
I get that though.
I can relate to that though.
Yeah.
I can.
If you're right around the corner from a good meatball sub.
Yeah, you take a break from the stakeout to get a sub.
I like how, and listeners, I'm sorry you can't experience this with the rest of us, but I like how Arian's head disappears into the wall of butts from time to time.
As it does.
So
there it goes.
Cover's blown. They pick him up to go on their little skydiving adventure so that Lori Petty can be kidnapped and held hostage. And Swayze has, and I guess it's because of this bond that has developed that Swayze has decided he's bringing Utah along for the job. I mean, that's all I can think of because there's no reason they shouldn't have just given him a bad shoot and dumped him out of the plane and let him die.
Yeah, which is like that would have made sense, but yeah, it's definitely the bromance angle. That's why he brought him along. He's like, nah, he's
It's like he wants to convert him into a criminal.
That's the vibe I got too. Like he thinks he's gonna like turn sides or something.
Well, or he's just brought him this far. He's given him the exhilaration of surfing. He's given him the exhilaration of skydiving. And this is the next, because like you mentioned earlier, Swayze gives that speech about how they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it for the thrill. That's the ultimate thrill, robbing a bank or whatever. and he wants him to experience that last thing.
Yeah.
Like he's been on this journey and he feels like he's got to get to the end of it.
Yeah, and Swayze's like a guru, cult leader-ish thing, like Arian was saying. So, like,
I'm
I
surprised
mean,
he wasn't drinking Fresca.
yeah, exactly.
So we get to that. We get to the unsurprising revelation that Swayze has, and I love how he takes Reeves into the back of the van. It's just the two of them. And he's like, "You're not going to like this."
Yeah, this
But
is gonna
check this
sting a
out.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Reeves doesn't overreact. He doesn't give the tough guy reaction like he's pissed, but he realizes he's in a corner, because a lot of times you get a character reacting to something like that in a completely, I think, stupid way, because there's nothing he can do at that point.
Yeah.
So there's no point in like grabbing Swayze and trying to fight him, or like,
it's not going to do anything.
Right. So we move along to the big final robbery of the movie, where Swayze gets too big for his britches, decides that they're going to go in the vault, and again, he's showing off for his buddy, basically.
Yeah. That's really the only explanation, is he's like, I'm going to show this cool guy how cool I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've come along this far. You've seen what we can do, but now I'm really going to push it. You're really going to see.
We're going to up the ante, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where everything falls apart.
We're going to do exactly what we don't do.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I love the one of the best performances in the whole movie is the security guard.
He's like, no, dude.
Yeah. He's like, please don't stop. When the cop is like, I'm a cop, I'm going to stop these guys. And the security guard's just like, please don't stop. Like, it's very believable. And
Oh, yeah.
It's
like,
very relatable.
Yeah.
Because the security guard knows exactly what's going to happen. He's like, we can let these fuckers just take the money and walk right out of here.
Yeah.
Or we can all get shot in the face.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we get the end of the movie where Swayze has gotten away and set up pretty early on, actually, because it's at the beach party, the first beach party where Reeves goes to Swayze's house, and they're talking about the big waves, and he says, "Oh, the biggest wave is in Australia."
50-year storm.
Yes, the 50-year storm. Which did anybody look that up to see if that's bullshit or not?
No, I didn't.
I imagine that there's not like a 50-year clock in like the sky that counts down, like, up there it is.
I did read that when they filmed that scene, though, there was like some insane storm going on that just happened to line up with when they were shooting. So that worked out pretty good.
Whoa, 50-year storms and knife-wielding locals. Point Break plot, fact or fiction? Interesting.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably all fiction, but...
Wait, this isn't a documentary?
Oh my gosh, this article is so long. There are real life 50-year cycles of storms.
Yes.
A 50-year storm refers to a storm that has a 2% chance of occurring on any given year, and usually refers to rainfall events. So like it's a thing, but it's not exactly a thing in the way that Patrick Swayze was saying it was a thing.
Yeah.
Which
is not like every 50 years it's going to hit on this day.
Right.
It's just like once every 50 years it'll happen at some point. Yeah.
I think there's a lot more ish to it than Patrick Swayze, like 50 years ish, probably.
Well, yeah, I don't think anybody literally thought there was a clock in the sky counting this day.
So, what do you guys think about the way it ends? Like the actual the process of him letting him go, but
I get it, but I hate it.
It's kind of dumb, right?
I hate it. He should have just arrested him.
Yeah.
This fucker's responsible for deaths.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, yes, that's dumb, but the idea that Johnny Utah is still a cop or an FBI agent is impossible to comprehend.
Well, okay.
And then he throws his badge in the water.
You say that, but if you take a look at all of the FBI/CIA government operative type things, even James Bond, if you look at the history of agents and spies in fiction, like what Johnny Utah did really isn't that bad compared to what a lot of your most famous spies and agents have gotten away with. So it's not like, if you're looking at this from a real world perspective, for sure, it's ridiculous he's still an agent. But if you're looking at this through the lens of fiction based on these things, it's not really that hard to swallow.
Yeah,
if you're looking at this as though it's a documentary, then you have other problems at hand.
I feel like
Factor fiction.
I feel like the
Right.
problem. I feel like the problem I have with it is like, it's like Keanu Reeves is like trying to track this dude down and stop him before he hurts anyone else again. So like he finds him on this beach in Australia and he's like, I'm gonna put him away. Like, and I take that because like he's like, because I care about my job, but then he just lets him go, and then I know he's like dead supposedly, but that doesn't close the case. They don't really know if he's dead. And then he throws his badge away.
Yeah,
I guess he's like, I love Patrick Swayze so much I can't be a cop anymore.
Yeah, like I just like, it's just weird. It's like, it's still your job. Like, what the fuck are you even doing if you're just gonna do this?
And why put all the effort into tracking him down if you're not gonna take him in? Either take him in or like go move into a nice cozy cabin with him. Like what else would be?
And I guess Busey dying made it a little more personal, but still,
I think that Reeves was, and honestly, there could have been a whole, imagine if Point Break had ended before the time jump, and then they did a second movie that was all about Reeves hunting Swayze down. Like, instead of him just saying, I missed you by a week and blah, 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 whatever.
That was a whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could have gotten a little better resolution out of it, because there's a lot of assumption and you're having to make guesses about Johnny Utah's motivations. My thought is that he's the one that got away and he becomes obsessed with bringing him to justice. And that's why he's been following him all over the world for the last 6 months or however long it's been.
But you didn't really bring him to justice.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying is that once he got him, he realized it wasn't even about that. It was just about getting him.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, I got him. What's the point of even bringing him in?
It was the friends he made along the way.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, and also like
it was the points he broke along the way.
True. And like when Bodhi says, I'll die in a cage, man. Like Keanu, like Johnny Utah knows that's true, and he can't do that to his bro.
But he's a cop. That's his job.
But that's literally what he does.
Well,
and that's exactly
that's why he
what
throws the badge away.
Right, and that's exactly what the movie is saying, is like, you got to let that crazy bird fly free, man. But I just don't agree with it. He should have handcuffed him and taken him down and been like, fuck you, you don't get your wave, bad guy.
Yeah.
And him over to the Australian guys in their little hats.
Yeah, because like you said,
Mike.
Bodhi wins at the end of this.
Yeah.
Because he would have died in that wave even if Keanu wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah, he even said, like, there's
He's
nothing
not
wrong doing what you love.
Yeah.
Yeah. It very much sets it up as that this wave is a suicide mission or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess the piece you're supposed to have, if he does survive this, is that all those cops are there waiting for him on the shore. So it's not like he's going to get away anyway. Like, even if he makes it through this amazing surfing event, they're there waiting for him. But again, I
just don't think that's how the law works. Yeah.
No, that's not how that works.
Oh, he was taken away by a big wave, mate.
Case closed.
Case closed.
Like, there's no body. Like,
let's go ride some kangaroos.
Let's go fight Russell Crowe, mate.
All right. So still, even though for me personally the ending was dissatisfying, love the movie. rapid pace, great performances, just everything about it is great. It really, really is a solid movie. For the listeners, I hope you watched it before listening to this, because we just
Yeah, if not, we spoiled everything.
everything, but you'll still enjoy it because we knew all that going into it, and we still enjoyed it. Any
Hashtag
final
spoiler
thoughts?
alert.
Final thoughts, you guys?
I mean, like I said earlier, it's an essential action movie. It's one of the best performances by Swayze next to Roadhouse. I love it. I think it rules. Yeah, I do think that, like, yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I got a little worried at first. I was like, ooh, man, is this not as good as I remember? And then as it went on, I was like, oh, yeah, it's just as good as I remember. Like, it's good. It just, at first, I was a little worried. I was like, oh, man, it's just like, is this more cop procedural than I remember? Can't say that word.
What was that
But
word?
anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm just like, is this just like some standard cop shit? Like, am I misremembering how good this was?
Right.
And
Did you romanticize it a little bit?
yeah, and it actually is that good.
Yeah, I
and-
kind of had the exact same thing where, I was like, oh, hell yeah, Point Break, blah, blah, blah. And then, I was watching it kind of in chunks because I had a lot going on. And so I watched like the first 20 or 25 minutes and I was like, man, I remember liking this a lot more than I'm liking it right now. And then I was able to kind of sit down and take it in, and I was
Once
like,
you get into the action.
okay.
Yeah.
Once you start getting in the bromance between the two of them and all that cool action starts happening, I was swept away on the wave of Point Break.
It's true.
Yeah.
I was in from the beginning, like as soon as I saw Gary Busey, because even if it's a cop procedural movie, like a cop procedural movie that has to deal with Gary Busey as one of the cops is going to be insane. So
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, he is fucking just delightful. I can't say that enough.
It's true.
All right. Well, I think everybody here gives Point Break hearty endorsement, many thumbs up. Still holds up. Still lots of fun.
Yeah.
You guys, where can we find you online, and what are you up to?
Cadaver Candle Company. That's about it. Just look it up. Google it. It's worth a Google.
cadavercandleco.bigcartel.com.
There you go. That's it. That's all I got going on.
Yeah, and
It's like they
and
ain't
follow
shit.
the Candle Company on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Instagram if you feel like it. It's mostly pictures of Newt.
Arian just turned green. I don't know what that means.
I'm hulking up, bro.
No,
Too
boy.
many butts.
He's
Wow.
going to angrily tell you about his pictures of food and cute animals.
Yeah. Find me at Such a Lazy Man on Instagram if you're so inclined for memes, animals, and food. There you go.
And butts.
Awesome.
Hashtag butts.
Thank you guys for talking about the beauty of Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves and Lori Petty.
Mhm.
The
Yes.
craziness of Gary Busey. And we will be back next month with something that might have been determined, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. This month is
Hell
the
yeah.
month of love.
And I
Yeah.
love Nick Cage.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's all you need. All right. Thanks a lot, you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace out.
Oof. I'm tired of illness. I'm tired of getting over these kidney stones. I'm tired of the whole pandemic situation. All of that. I want to move ahead, but we have to be responsible and smart about it, which is why right now I want this vaccine more than I want like any new toy that's coming out. Well, okay, maybe not more than the new Thulsa Doom figure, but almost as much. But seriously, everybody, please continue to stay safe, be responsible, look out for your community, look out for your family, look out for your friends. I know there are those out there who think it is, but this is no joke. I've seen it devastate a lot of people, and I have no interest in that happening to me or any of you. So, good times are ahead. I think there's a lot of hope that things can get back to normal at some point this year. But until then, Needless Things, well, not until then, starting now, Needless Things is back to normal. Business as usual. We are going to keep the content coming every week. Check out the Needless Things YouTube channel for all those toy reviews. Lots and lots of stuff coming there. This week, you know what? I don't even remember what's going up this week. I'm cold and tired, you guys. Cold and tired. A little bit sore. Tiny bit sore. Not super sore. Better than I was. But I hope everybody's new year is going better than mine has so far. I hope you're all doing well out there. I hope you're, getting by in 2021, a year with hopefully more promise than 2020. Well, okay, at this point in 2020, I think things still looked pretty good. But let's hope for a good year, you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging in there. I love you guys.
You have been listening to a Needless Things podcast. You can follow Needless Things on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at needlessthingspodcast.com. Love you. Mean it. Uh-huh.